Nasal septum. The nasal cavity is subdivided into right and left halves by the nasal septum. On each side, it is covered by a mucous membrane and forms the medial wall of both nasal cavity. The nasal septum is made up of partially bones and cartilage. The bones which forming the nasal septum are vomer bone, perpendicular plate of ethmoid, nasal spine of frontal bone, nasal crest of the nasal bone, rostrum of the sphenoid, palatine and maxillary bones. The cartilages which forming the nasal septum are septal cartilages and the septal process of inferior nasal cartilage. The cuticular part or the lower end is formed by fibrofatty tissue covered by skin. The lower margin of the septum is called columellar. The nasal septum has 4 borders and 2 surfaces. The borders are anterior border, superior border, inferior border and posterior border. The 2 surfaces are right and left surfaces. Arterial supply of the septum. Anterosuperior part is supplied by anterior and posterior ethmoidal artery. You can see the anterior ethmoidal arteries and posterior ethmoidal arteries supplying the anterosuperior part. The anterior inferior part supplied by the superior labial branch of facial artery. The posterior superior part is supplied by sphenopalatine artery. It is the main artery, and the posterior inferior part is supplied by few branches of greater palatine artery. The anterior inferior part or vestibuli of the septum contains anastomosis between all branches. The septal branches of the superior labi, sphenopalatine artery, greater palatine artery and anterior ethmoidal artery, anastomose here. These form a large capillary network called Kieselbach's plexus. This is a common site of bleeding from the nose and this is known as Little's area. When we talk about the venous drainage, the veins form a plexus which is more marked in the lower part of the septum or Little's area. The plexus drains anteriorly into the facial vein and posteriorly through sphenopalatine vein to pterygoid venous plexus. General sensory nerves arising from the trigeminal nerve are distributed to whole of the nasal septum. The anterosuperior part of the nasal septum is supplied by internal nasal branch of the anterior ethmoidal nerve. Its antero-inferior part is supplied by anterior superior alveolar nerve. The posterior-superior part is supplied by medial posterior-superior nasal branches of the pterygopalatine ganglion. The posterior-inferior part is supplied by nasopalatine branches of the pterygopalatine ganglion. The special sensory nerves or the olfactory nerves are confined to the upper part of nasal cavity or olfactory area. Then about lymphatic drainage, the anterior half is drained to the submandibular nodes, whereas the posterior half to the retropharyngeal and deep cervical nodes. I hope this video helped you to understand the topic, and if you have any doubts and suggestions, write it in the comment box below, and if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up button. Thank you.